agreements with Wagner Engineering for emergency bridge repair work and the grant application that was submitted to receive the $3.5 million for the Highway 80 bridge. Yes, ma'am. 14. Okay. Any other changes? No, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, so we want to get started with the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Oh, well, we have to approve.
Move to approve the agenda as changed.
All in favor? Any nays?
Second.
Okay. Any nays? So moved. Thank you.
We got it.
Consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Routine number 1. Order authorizing mayor appointment of Mark Davis to the Historic Planning Board.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Davis is a local architect. He does have over 12 years of experience, and we're asking for his consideration to be appointed to the Historic Planning Commission. Mayor Glenn, would you like to speak on Mr. Davis?
As you guys know, we have to come to you and put people on all these commissions from time to time, and have 2 people this morning, Mr. Davis. I don't see him. Thank you. Mr. Davis and Ms. Don Wright, but Mr. Davis, of course, as Richie said, is a local architect over 12, 13 years experience. He's here today. We want to move forward with putting him on this commission, and if you have any questions, you can ask Mr. Davis, who's here in front of me.
How long are their terms when they get appointed?
I believe it's 6 years. 5 years. 5 years? Okay, it's 5-year terms. I don't know, I can't remember if it was 5 or 6 year terms.
What is the, I guess, what would be your function on this board? What does this board do? Commission do?
I have a lot of experience working in historical architecture, so I think we'd be advising people that are trying to build downtown, around the community. And I'm sorry, I forgot that I'm upstairs. I think I can help
You can
advise.
catch your breath.
I know, I'm sorry. I think I can help advise people in ways to maintain the historical character of the city.
Any other questions? Ready to vote? All in favor? Any nays? So moved. Thank you. Number 2. Number 2, order authorizing mayor appointment of John Wright to the Historic Planning Board.
So moved. Second.
Mrs. Wright is not here right now. She's trying to be registered for MCC, where she's a professor. But Ms. Dawn Wright is a graduate of Delta State University, graduate school also from West Alabama. She got her BS and also a master's in counseling and psychology. Dawn is another person that we want to move forward on this commission. She had a very lengthy curriculum vitae, which we shortened for you guys, but most notably in Wayne County, she did work in historical and genealogy researcher. She also has worked as historical site preservation and another genealogical researcher in both North Mississippi and in Salt Lake, Utah. She's a psychology associate 2 professor and a psychology instructor at MCC. A lot of you guys know Dawn, but she cannot be as she is working at MCC this morning.
Please give us a resume in the future before we bring these up.
Okay. Dawn's resume not in your package. I think we may both of them to
It came out of there.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that.
Ready to vote? All in favor? Any nays? So moved. Number 3.
President, we will be getting clarification on the year of those terms. Looking at the members serving, one member does have a 6-year term, the other two have 5. I don't know if they're filling unexpired terms or not right now, but we will get clarification on those terms.
Yes, sir, thank you. Number 3, order authorizing acceptance of donation in honor of the firefighters to Meridian Fire Department. Second.
I'd call up Chief Lester. This is a citizen that wishes to make a donation to the Meridian Fire Department to honor a fallen firefighter that we have had. And I'll let Chief Lester explain in further detail.
Morning, Council.
Good morning.
Last week we received a check in the mail from Ms. Fitzmore asking to donate this money to the fire department in any way we chose to use it. We put it into training, something like that, where it can be put to good use. You should have a copy of the card that came with you in your packets. That's pretty much it. I want to make sure you were aware of it. We're going to be using it for some good things.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Now some money go in the general fund and allocated out to the fire department. So I understand the donation on the general fund first, and they allocate them out there.
Yes, sir, that is correct. The money will go to the general fund, and then from there, we would take an application to Meridian Fire Department.
Okay. Thank you.
These donations.
Number 4. Yes. Yes. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nay? Number 4, order authorizing the acceptance of sponsorship for the 2019 Healthy Hometown Challenge.
So moved. Second.
I'd like to call up Director Carmichael of Community Development. This is an ongoing project that she has where this is the Healthy Hometown Challenge, and it's created with the goal of developing community-wide health awareness. Ms. Carmichael has done a great job of getting community support and working towards a healthier Meridian.
Good morning, Council. I cannot take all the credit. We have a great council that has worked hard on this initiative this year. We did it a couple of years ago and had a lot of success with the community getting awareness about being healthy and what you can do to be active and fit. So this year it broadened a little bit. We got Katie Bergen is our chair. She engaged a lot of community members, and we have some great sponsors. So this is asking to receive the sponsorship money. John and Bill Johnson is our big, I would say, big corporate sponsor for this event this year. What we'll do is it goes into the Healthy Hometown Fund, and it will be reallocated when we do the prizes. It's a 6-week challenge, and I'm proud to say we've got 500 people signed up for the challenge, which is phenomenal for our community. So.
What is the Healthy Hometown Challenge?
Okay, it's a challenge that started February 1st and it ends March 15th. It's a 6-week challenge. It encourages everybody to eat healthy, transform, exercise, just think about what they can do to improve their lives and to live healthy lives. So it's for anybody in the surrounding Meridian area. Participants have gone to several different locations to weigh in. So the prizes will be based on not so much weight loss, but also your total transformation and just, the strides you're making to be a healthier person. So there will be a big, award ceremony everybody will be invited to. We'll definitely communicate that with council as well, so everybody can participate in that. And follow. This will also look good when we apply for that $50,000 this year for Blue Cross Blue Shield. So.
How do people get involved?
We've promoted on Facebook. We've got the message out. We've done media. Bonita Lakes Mall's been another big partner. They've got a lot of challenges, that they're doing there with the fitness center there at the mall. So the word's out, and anybody who wants to get involved, just let me know or get in touch with one of our health and or mayor's health and fitness council members, and we can get you involved.
call the mayor's office?
Yes, sir, or community development.
Give us those phone numbers.
601-485-1908 or 601-485-1998. Thank you.
Thank you. Ready to vote? All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Earlier, we voted on Ms. Dawn Wright to be added to the planning board. She's here now. Would you like to say anything, Ms. Dawn?
I just like to say, I'm really passionate about the historic. Excuse me, I had some new exams today.
Give them all a name.
Sir,
Give them all a name.
oh, they have to earn it. One kid, we're not entitled to anything. It's good work ethics. Okay. I really would like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to even speak today. I'm very passionate about history and historical preservation. I've had conversations with Dr. Thomas and Mr. Councilman Tyrone about the graveyard. So I'm just really excited to have the opportunity to be on the commission. I'm interested in the historical integrity of the buildings, making sure that our historical signs are accurate, making sure that we solidify those relationships with the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. So I'm just thoroughly excited.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to make sure everyone's seeing your beautiful face.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Wright is, the mayor may have said she is an instructor at NCC and has done great things out there. Her husband, Mr. Rufus Wright, is also a principal and actually one of my former bosses. So thank you, Tom. Taking us on.
Thank you. Number 5, order authorizing service agreement with Ceasefire for wireless service and equipment.
Move approval.
I'd like to call up Mr. Talbert. He is our Director of Information Systems, as well as Captain Griffith. This deals with what we've been working on to bring our police department in a new technological area where we have not only body cameras and car cameras, but also laptops in our cars, and makes us a more efficient department. So I'd like these two individuals to speak.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the wireless capabilities for the in-car computers to be able to, of course, get online, be able to communicate with dispatches computers, to be able to have the e-site software online, and in order for the record report system also to be able to send out the reports. The big thing for it is that the officers will be able to, through the dispatch software, be able to put yourself out on calls, see where calls are at in the entirety of the city through the computer, and have the capability of running tags and driver's license from inside their car. But we wouldn't be able to do that without this wireless connection.
So how soon we get all our patrol cars and detective cars and anybody out there on the street?
This right now, just go into the patrol cars, and 60 of them. I would probably say, depending on how quick we get the equipment, probably within 2 to 3 months.
That's good. I can't hear you.
What he was saying is the 911 system's not online yet, so it'll be further down the road before they'll be able to, see the calls and do the dispatch stuff through their car. But within the 3 months, they'll be able to run driver's license to the e-site system. They will also be able to submit their reports from the car, which are cut down and they're coming from back to the station. Should be able to, or should see them more often in the community and that kind of stuff. That capability.
Will this system enable us to, when they do all that, will that be sent to the court system or where we keep the records at the same time? Would that allow you to do that?
It does, It depends on how that new CAD system, new dispatch system ties into the courts and records side.
Yeah.
Right now, the way eSite works, it's a state-based database.
Yeah.
So the ticket, when the officer sends it, what he'll do is he'll do the ticket on his computer. He prints it out, and then when he sends it, it goes to the state first. And our courts and records has to get into the system, which they have access to get into it, to be able to see it. And then two, we print a copy all four to go over our courts and records.
Okay. It just needs to all.
Yes, sir, I agree.
It saves the officer a lot of time.
It does, it saves courts and records a lot of time too, if
Yeah.
we get it where it runs together, it's more efficient.
Good.
Right now, you're getting, when you receive a ticket for a violation outside the city of Meridian, you will be receiving a printed out ticket out of each vehicle.
I had experience with that.
One thing that I know anybody that's received a traffic violation will notice that you can read these tickets a lot better than the past. And there's a carbon copy type tickets. They are printed up, they are in Times New Roman, and you can see exactly what information you need to comply.
Any other questions?
And if we just get all our cell phones and everything coordinated,
Yes, sir.
it'd be nice.
Ready to vote? All in favor? Any nays? So moved. Number 6, order authorizing the engagement of one person known as a dissemination agent.
Second. The attorney or somebody can explain this to the public.
We are on,
Butler Snow dissemination.
okay. I'm gonna ask, Ms. Latimer to come up. This is part of our compliance, so we have got to do, through the state, for our bond counsel. And, Ms. Latimer, if you can come give some, additional information on that.
This is an annual requirement of the Securities and Exchange Commission. There are certain disclosures that the city must make to the SEC just due to different bond issues. So each year we disclose information such as property tax information, number of employees, city's financial information, just various different items to the Securities and Exchange Commission. Well, the snow comes in place because they obtain this information from the city of Meridian employees. They put it together in a format that's electronic, that's submitted electronically to the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board. So this is to engage, let us know to do this service for us that they've done several years in the past.
We can't do this in-house.
We do not have the computer capabilities or the number of employees to put this information together electronically to submit it. And plus, to make sure it's submitted correctly and in timely, we prefer to use Butler Snow, which is our bond counsel.
If you're gonna submit it to Butler Snow, then Butler Snow is gonna submit it, or are they gonna come over here and have the process?
There's certain information that Butler Snow obtains from us, and there's also other documents that Butler Snow obtains from the different bond issues, from the bond documents. So they get information from us, they come out with the information they have, and they send it electronically to the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board.
And what this will cost the city?
This is a fee of $3,000 to do this service.
How much?
$3,000.
Yearly?
Yes, it's an annual service, so once they compile all the information submitted in March, they'll send us an invoice for $3,000.
This is a good route for us, especially when you're dealing with compliance here with the Municipal Security Rulemaking Board. Butler Snow and Mr. Harrison have a lot of experience dealing with this. Being bond counsel is their forte, and we feel comfortable they're going this route. It is the best path forward for the city.
How have we done it in the past, if this is something we do every year?
We've done the same way in the past with Butler Snow.
Butler Snow has been doing
Butler
this?
Snow has been doing this, yes. So we did the same agreement last year around the same time.
So does the agreement last for 1 year? Or-
It lasts until they do the continuing disclosure. So it's an annual disclosure that's due by the end of March. So once they submit that information in March, then it's pretty much done until next year.
Any other questions? All ready to vote? All in favor? Any nays? So moved. second. Resolution authorizing request for activation of the 22nd Avenue Enhancement Project.
Move approval.
I'd like to call Director Smith on this. This is a project, and he is extremely modest, but this was a team effort and something that he put a lot of time in with his team. And this project right here, this grant money that he received, will change the face of the Interway of Meridian. And I would just like to say thank you, Mr. Smith, for putting this together, man.
Appreciate that. Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
What you have before you is a request to go ahead and activate the project on 22nd Avenue. This is actually a streetscape project. That's some description as to what the project will entail in the request to you. But let me say, I echo Mr. McAllister. Our goal is to change the overall appearance of 22nd Avenue. After all, it is the gateway into downtown. And we want to highlight that with the activities that we have planned along 22nd Avenue, with activities that are downtown on 22nd Avenue. This is all in an effort to create a Meridian corridor to downtown that we all can be proud of. This is funded through a TAP grant from MDOT to the tune of $1.1 million. There's also a match on that. Let me also say that this is a project that's been funded 100% through either federal or state tax dollars. Typically, there's a 20% match on these projects. We've talked about that in the past. We were fortunate enough last summer to receive some special appropriation dollars from our local delegation. That money will be used as match on this. So basically, there's no out-of-pocket or budgetary adjustments that will need to be made in order for us to pursue this project. And most of all, I really want to highlight that. Yes, it was a team effort, and it's wonderful that we finally got the award from MDOT, but the fact that we were able to do that through long-term planning and working together without having to come before you and ask for additional money, I think, really needs to be highlighted.
Who did the plan?
We haven't got to the plan yet. That's part of this activation request. Once we do that, we'll be able to go out and hire a consultant to start with the actual design, if that's your question, Dr. Thompson.
So that plan will come back before the council for approval?
We have looked at some, what I would call sketches or ideas, but yeah, all that will come back before council, and it will also have to be approved by MDOT. There again, they're still putting up, 80% of the funds, so whatever we all agree to, they will also have to sign off on as well. And some of that has to do with the safety aspects, making sure we meet the federal guidelines in regards to the width of the sidewalks, the pedestrian crossings, and all that kind of stuff.
We'll work with the Children's Museum on this, I assume.
And that's what I mentioned earlier with the projects we have going on. Our idea is to incorporate all of those activities into this project so this becomes a highlight of what's already going on.
What's the possibility of condemning the old mall, and tearing it down and charging them for it?
We are in the process of working with the landowner on that project. And on this funding right here, we are coordinating with our master planner on this project. One thing that we're working on right now is the economic incentive portion of the master plan. A lot of cities are not as fortunate as the city of Meridian to have opportunity zones. They are federally designated, and what it is designed for is to spur economic development in areas that are otherwise hard to locate that profit investment. You also have the ability to layer additional incentives on top of this project that will be able to fund the ideas that we'll be bringing you in the master plan for your consideration.
Can you explain to the citizens why this money has to go to 22nd? I get stopped sometimes and we got all this money to pay 22nd, why we can't pay my neighborhood?
Okay. When you submit a grant application, you have to define what you want those dollars for. Part of that selection process goes into an evaluation of the project area that you submitted, what you want to do in that project area, and the value that that grant agency sees in investing their money or putting those dollars into that. So basically, you have this MOU or legal contract with that grant agency that says, here's what we want to do with the money we're asking you to grant us. and you can't deviate from that.
One of the points that they looked at that made us viable and eventually be selected for these funds was the proximity of this project to I-20. These are MDOT funds, and you're looking at everything being put in between I-20 and the 22nd Avenue Bridge.
And just for clarification, we're not going to be paying for an additional plan for downtown, correct? The monies that we get, I think you said 1.1 million
This is earmarked only for 22nd Avenue.
for 22nd Avenue, which we have a downtown master plan that we've paid for.
Which is,
Are we gonna collaborate with them? We're not gonna be paying them any additional monies.
we've collaborated with them on this grant right here. Right now, we're looking at the incentives that would go with this grant, as well as other grants we will be seeking. And like I said, one is the proximity to I-20 with this project right here. The other is in a federally recognized opportunity zone. And then we will be looking at other incentives that we could layer to make these funds go a lot further.
Have they, this is something off subject, but do they have a traffic study ready yet?
They do have a traffic study. It is in the document that will be getting presented to the council for review and input, and from there we'll go to our final portion of that to finalize the plan.
Is that gonna coordinate with what we're doing with this 22nd Avenue?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
When could we expect to get an update from LPK?
I would say within the next 2 weeks. Within the next 2 weeks, we'll be looking out and scheduling a meeting from there. The last meeting I had with LPK was last week, and looking at how far they have gotten as far as the layering. Right now, we're looking at the economic incentives that would go with this plan. What we didn't want to do was present you a plan for this area and not give you items in which could fund this, or opportunities in which could fund this master plan, whether it's entirely or partially, or we look at how to do this long term. I would suggest on anything plan-wise, we look at the long-term plan and benefits of that. But as far as like paving in our neighborhoods, what we're trying to do is create opportunities for retail investment, where we will increase our sales tax coming into the city, that we can then allocate that money for paving in our neighborhoods. Now, we will also be getting funds within the next year from the state for paving and infrastructure improvements. And right now, we're doing all we can to prepare for that opportunity.
I'm gonna step off subject again. Dr. Thomas, you can stop me. Who paved that road between Ross and the mall? Who paved that road?
Between Rock, that property, and this is often an area that we get calls on.
Yeah, it's hard.
Potholes. What you run into on that road that comes behind Ross and then goes directly towards Big Lakes, that is a private road, a private drive.
But I'm saying what company, and y'all gonna get a good laugh in a minute, what company did it, and I hope the city doesn't work with that company often. Because that paving job is absolutely horrible.
I'm not even sure who did it.
Okay.
It would be whoever the contractor is that is acquiring that property for development in that area.
I'm not sure.
Every time they fix one, three pop up.
Do we still have, since we're talking about paving, do we still have, years ago, someone told me that they paid a little extra to have like a bridge or some culvert or stuff like that put in. Do we still have those type of opportunities available for citizens who really want their street paved and may be willing to put quote unquote some skin in the game?
Now, sitting beside an expert, because he was here when all that took place. It's just something, if the council wants to take that up, it's competition paving. And as a council, I would recommend that y'all discuss that, maybe in a work session. And if that's something you really want to do, we can get the parameters to make that happen.
I'd like to learn more about that, if it's possible.
And let me just go back to one of your comments. What you can expect to see, our goal is to have some continuity between between what you see on 22nd Avenue, Front Street, and also, you know, to kind of bring all that in together. So you have a more or less holistic approach to the
A
project.
real master plan?
Correct.
Okay.
You're calling it, yeah, you can use the term master plan, but you want to see that continuity from one section to the other in what we are defining on that entertainment district.
Right, and that's, I mean,
Yeah.
if we have a real plan, then
Right.
all of that should
And
flow
we'll
together.
incorporate those ideas that are in that master plan into the final design or the aesthetics of what we do on 22nd Avenue. And I think that was your real question.
Right, to make
Okay.
sure everything is gonna flow and
Right.
not pay any additional monies for something that we've already paid for.
What we're working towards is something they call incentive stacking. In the past, the city of Meridian has looked at projects as far as how we could fund ourselves with tax dollars that we have. What we're looking at is how we can apply for, whether it be state, federal, or private funds to make these allocated funds from the state go further. And we stack these together to get a lot more mileage out of the money that we receive.
Piggybacking off what Ms. Councilwoman Houston said about a week ago, she asked you about those trenches that's dug in the street. I don't know, I forget who's doing those, but are they coordinating with you guys? I know 22nd Avenue, we had this pretty paved street that just got done a couple months ago. Just poured up and put those trenches.
The utility cuts, and we have other utilities that have right-of-way access inside our streets. And of course, they have the power company, phone company, and even the gas company. The gas company right now is doing a lot of work in regards to upgrading the gas lines. We do try to coordinate with them. But some of the problem areas, I guess because the construction is old, they routinely, and this, I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, but the phone company is notorious for routinely going back to the same location over and over again. I'm not sure exactly why. When we did our sidewalks on Front Street, we, of course, put pool boxes in and so forth to try to accommodate them not having to come back and do those type of things. So to answer your question, is we're trying to coordinate with them whatever we can, but I don't think you'll ever see the day that there are no utility cuts in any street. I don't see that. The goal is to bring those to a minimum, and when they do go back and make those repairs, it's still standard that, you know, we agree to. But as far as there never been any utility cuts, because as you grow, and lots of that work vacant at one time, you know, become developed, and there's all kind of reasons why that eventually, you know, you'll see another street cut. And asphalt is not a permanent fixture. It has a life cycle, a lifespan. But you want to make sure that if there's opportunity to be proactive in those situations, which we are mindful of that, we do try to do.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other questions? You know, pavement is a hot topic around here. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? All right, so moved. Number 8, ordinance rezoning 4525 Poplar Springs Drive from R1 residential single family to B1 residential business.
This is an item that we discussed briefly during the agenda setting. This area is, a few years ago, they had a transformation from residential to business in this area, and these are a few lots that were left out of that rezoning. This is to come back and update that. I'd like Ms. Carmichael or Dr. Steve Red, if you're here, might come up. Dr. Red did show some maps of this location during the agenda setting, and I can discuss further with this location.
Good morning, Council. Good morning.
Good morning.
Like Mr. McAllister said, we just had a mistake in zoning because when they rezoned in 1994 to citywide zoning, they did an extension of their residential area instead of looking at what was going on. And you have 2 businesses been operating there since that time, and you had one house that was just a house there. So basically, I sent you all the map yesterday. Did you all get it? Basically showing that what was prior to 1994, and you have a dentist office and an insurance office in there. And Ms. Vice, her mother died, and so she had a house in there. She wants to list it as a commercial. And so when you have a two businesses operating there, and then a house, residential house in there. We just wanted to update the map, and you have a lot of these areas throughout the city that need to be updated because you have, when they did a citywide zoning, they didn't take into consideration what was going on in certain areas, so we have to go back and correct these things that come across our desk.
And this is not spot zone, correct?
No, with the map I sent you all, that area is a transitional area, so it's RBO, which is residential business. So it's leading to Poppy Springs. So you have a minor arterial street leading to a major arterial street. So, like I said, they just pretty much extended their residential area instead of looking at what was going on there. That's a transitional area. So you want light business going into heavy business. So it's just
bringing non-conforming back into conformity too.
Well, it was.
We had one parcel of property there was already in violation.
Correct. So basically, the two businesses that have been there operating were non-conforming. So this would correct this. So if anything would happen, you already have, established businesses have to go back into residential, which is not what we should do for them.
Sounds good. Any other questions? Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? So moved. Number 9. Ordinance revising section 23-122, parking of trucks prohibited in residential zones. Second.
So we discussed.
Yes, sir.
This is an item that continues to be a topic of discussion in dealing with 18-wheeler trucks parking in prohibited residential zones. In talking at the agenda setting, we are going to be looking at how we could possibly reuse city-owned lots to be able to accommodate some of these areas as well as local business owners. But I will let Dr. Red or Ms. Carmichael explain.
Here again, this is an old ordinance that needs to be updated. Council Houston had a meeting, a community meeting, and I think out of that, I heard that this was an issue, ongoing issue. And when I looked in the ordinance, I saw that they were using, code enforcement couldn't enforce the actual law because of, in the wording, it said certain residential areas. And then if you go down to B, it says in the A0, A1, A2, A3, we don't use those current zoning criteria. We use R1, R2, and R3. So it said certain areas, certain residential areas, A1, A2, we basically just update to just take out the A1, A2, and just left residential. So it's pretty clear cut. If it's in the residential area, this is what goes on. So there's no dispute between, where the dispute is between the city and the resident. And we have a lot of these things going on in our ordinance that were prior to 1994, just old, outdated ordinances that need to be updated so we can enforce whatever our code is and not be in kind of dispute or wiggle room as far as how we go about enforcing.
Do we have any pickup trucks that are designed to carry over 2,200 pounds? I don't know, because this thing says 2,200 pounds, and I don't know if they're some of these new super duper pickups. I just want to be careful that somebody's truck they drive every day is not prohibited from parking in front of their house. I don't know. It says it has to be, if it's capable of carrying that much, you can't park it.
Within internal discussions here, we believe that we're going to be okay with leaving that in there.
Okay.
But should something come up, we will be coming back to you to readdress that.
Okay.
But this is an ongoing effort to update our codes and ordinances to better serve the citizens of Meridian.
Now, they can't, what about the driveway? Don't we have an ordinance against that also?
Parking of 18-wheelers.
Yeah. I know we've discussed that at length in previous council meetings where they don't park on the street, they just barely off the street in the driveway. And we've had, I think we have an ordinance that prohibits that, and I don't know how it fits with this. I don't know.
We do have several ordinances that address this. and we're gonna be moving through these ordinances, bringing them for you for updating, to bring them into today's era. But right now, our biggest concern is having, the number of 18-wheelers or commercial vehicles that we have parked into residential areas. I know I'm talking to Councilman Houston, for example. When you have an 18-wheeler that is using a Jake brake to slow down, it is extremely loud in the residential area, and it'll wake residents up. We're trying to get to where we're more efficient as well as better serving those residents that don't have 18-wheelers. But we will be bringing other ordinance to you for update.
And that person, that neighbor who called me this weekend, that the gentleman was home in the truck. He comes on the weekend now, so I don't know if y'all can send somebody out there on the weekend.
I've got your address to form
Yeah.
that, and we'll be addressing it.
And also, there was isn't there a concern about the streets and things of that nature, the wear and tear? Because there are some, I get a lot of calls from the other side of it as well. People want to know why I can't park my truck in front of my house when there's another organization that has, it's not the wood trucks, but more of a different type of commercial or 18-wheeler type thing. Is there any, how do we differentiate, or how do we answer that question when people ask us, why can this organization do it? And
We have several concerns here. One is, we're going to have 18-wheelers coming through the city of Meridian just to service our commercial businesses, whether that be a Cisco truck dropping off, materials or food for a restaurant, as well as 18-wheelers come to the city to drop off building materials. But what you run into when you have these vehicles that are parking in residential areas, one is backing out. You create a hazard parking in a residential area with smaller vehicles coming through there. You also want to try to minimize your amount of turning that is going on. And like you said, also you have a weight concern there. Paving new streets and then having these heavier trucks distribute that weight on these new roads and causing ruts. It will just lessen the life cycle that we have on our asphalt inside the city.
if we could definitely look at some of those lots, like we kind of talked about, and maybe find a place so that we're doing good by those type of business owners, just as well as the food trucks and everybody else that come through, showing that we're trying to put forth the effort. Because from my understanding, they are willing to pay, which might be another source of revenue for the city.
I think you have a great idea there on being able to find another source of revenue and still be able to meet everybody in the middle, accommodate these business owners that have 18-wheelers, as well as accommodating our residential areas.
There's a term in here, and I should have looked it up, and I didn't. Talks
Danny knows
about
what it means.
drawing trailers. Is drawing the correct term? I've just never heard it used that
I
way.
believe that is an older term,
I'm old, but I just never heard that.
when you have an 18-wheeler that does not have a trailer, the common term is driving that truck bobtail. Generally, when you have an 18-wheeler trailer, you'd say trailer in tow. I'm assuming this is
Towing,
I'm sure drawing is probably an older term for trailer in tow.
you old folks out there,
We might need to
maybe that's
bring up
the correct term.
terminology.
We'll get you some clarification on that.
Okay, I should have looked it up, not thought. Okay. Kim has heard it. That's good, that's good.
Any other questions?
No.
Ready to vote? All in favor? Any nays? So moved. Number 10, ordinance revising section 707 storage of commercial vehicles.
So moved.
This is another ordinance that we're looking to update. One item that we did want to take out here was the parking of commercial vehicles or having trailers having a rating of 1.5 tons or more is prohibited in residential areas. We want to take that sentence out just simply because commercial vehicle, just a car itself. Some cars are gonna weigh more than 3,000 pounds. We wanted to take that, older language out, and not to be funny here, but I kind of felt like that probably goes back to the days of having wagons inside the city. But, what we're looking at here is, the first sentence there about commercial vehicles or trailers of any kind or type shall not be parked or stored on any residential zone property other than behind the rear of said residence.
Okay, so if you've got a pickup truck that you use in your business, you got a sign on the side of it, you can't park there. It's a commercial vehicle, it's totally used for business.
That's why they took that language out.
That's why we took the language out here about the weight limit here.
Well, it says commercial vehicles and trailers of any kind of type shall not be parked or stored on any residentially owned property.
Here with the council, we may want to clarify on commercial vehicles, rather than say commercial vehicles or trailers, I would say commercial vehicles
We
with
just need
trailers.
to clarify what that, because a lot of people, they use, well, they even insurance agents that have cars that have a sign on the side of it.
I agree, I would take out the word, but with commercial vehicles
Just
with trailers.
define that a little better, I
Maybe
think.
the way that I did on the other truck.
Or maybe in the previous section of this ordinance, it is established that way. I just don't want to prohibit someone.
If you'd like, we could pull this,
Just work on it.
RPN.
And also, and this is a tad bit off topic, but I want to look at ordinances on how we're able to save our homeowners money when it comes to having to get permits. It's so expensive for people that actually remodel their home and have to go through so much other processes and it's something that they can do themselves.
We are looking at all of our building ordinances inside the city, one being, on, subdivision construction. You know, we do have some older ordinances that are not quite business friendly, and we're working with the appropriate boards on that and updating those. We were just working internally to get that language, in a format that we can then send to the city attorney for review before bringing it before, our planning commission, council board, et cetera.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Do the council have any input on that, or are we able to have this at a work session or anything?
Generally would bring it before the planning commission or mechanical board. They would make suggestions on there, and it would come before the council. And then from there, you have a document that you can work with in real time, and then we can, you are the final body that goes before any changes that you would like. You better make any changes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We're also having a meeting Thursday at, is it 10 a.m.? Is that right? Yeah, at Community Development.
So if y'all like to come to that meeting, it's just to start that process of looking at these ordinances and how we can bring them more up to date. So,
Thank you.
Number 10, we gonna table that until they reword.
I move that we table, item number 10 until we get clarification and, the correct verbiage.
Second. All in favor? Any nays? Number 10 has been tabled. Thank you. All right, number 11. Order establishing additional duties for certain employees, specific job descriptions.
Second.
Any questions?
Where are you going to find this?
The new job descriptions are not making available for us to see, or how's that working?
Ms. Walker's not here right now. We can't go down and get those duties that we agreed to at our previous council meeting.
I'll put it on hold right now until she gets back to that. I just,
Everything that's said in that meeting was then transcribed onto these documents. So, they'll run that back and bring it back up to you.
we're just going to take any action.
So, number 11, no action. Okay, so moving to number 12. FY 2019 budget amendment. A, decrease legislative special project project 102-40940 by $121,610 and increase transfers to E911 subsidy 108-40900 by $121,610.
Second.
Tell me, I can have our CFO, Brent Levin, come up, but this is part of the city's contribution to E911 for the CAT upgrade. They're going through upgrades to all of their hardware and software. This is right now not to expend those funds, but to have a budget amendment placing them where they can be expended after we finish our discussions on the vendor working with E911 on meeting the bullet points that we asked them to meet.
How much will we have left in legislative after this?
After this budget amendment, legislative would have $147,891. And that's deducting out the $150,000 for the Sweet Gum Valley Road project.
That does not include, does include.
It does.
Come on the road.
It does not include Sweet Gum Valley Road, so it's already been, I've deducted it out of that total.
We
Already
So we-
pulled 150,000 out of
We haven't pulled it out, just, since it's already earmarked for Sweet Gum Valley Road, I'm not including it in the total. So if you want to include that, then you can say about 300,000 is remaining.
So would it be safer to leave that as is and work off the bond money to repair Sweet Gum Bottom Road? And that way it leaves the legislature with more money?
Council decision on how you want to go about that. We did talk about another funding source that has matured and can be moved as well, that we talked about briefly in the agenda setting meeting. But that's a council decision on.
Well, I don't know if we are, I mean, me personally, until we get the accurate quote on who's gonna do the road and how much it's actually gonna cost us.
We have asked the county engineer, Darrell Temple, to submit a plan to the council with all of the requests in there, everything from the lighting, curb and gutter, striping that was requested, and to give us an accurate estimate of those funds, as well as how much it would cost to move dirt, as well as connect the drainage coming. As soon as that proposal has been prepared, we'll be submitting it to the council.
Yes, ma'am.
So right now, in that, 300,000, that's with what we discussed about keeping that, additional money in there for the, golf course.
Golf course, right, it does. So I have not deducted the golf course from the total.
Yes, the other funding source that I was discussing previously was a CD. Okay, so okay.
Just as we can.
Okay, it's roughly $700,000.
That's what community bank.
Yeah, like the mayor said, that was a funding source that's been discussed during past agenda setting as a potential funding source for funding streets in our neighborhood.
Any other questions? Ready to vote, all in favor? Any nays? So moved.
I do want to clarify, though, that this is not expending these funds right now. This is simply a budget amendment for when those funds could be expended. At that point, we will be coming back to the council to expend those funds.
Is there an idea when that might be? Is it not due right now?
It is. We've been working with the county engineer, and he is coordinating with their vendor that they have to move dirt and working to get us a solid price. I did tell him that the price that will be presented to the council needs to be a hard number. It also needs to include a timeline and liquidated damages for the completion of the road. I look for that proposal to come any day.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Green.
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving to number 13. Claims docket.
So moved.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Number 14, agreement for the application with WAC.
So moved.
I'd like to direct, Director Smith to come back up. Sorry.
There we go.
You have before you an agreement from Wagner. They were the consultant that we used to actually put together the grant request for the emergency road and bridge funds. Actually, I thought we met in December and you authorized us to pursue these funds, that it included allowing the consultant to do exactly that. And when the invoice came in, had a conversation with our CFO, and it was decided that it would be best to come back before you, let you approve the agreement, and ask for the mayor's signature to be approved so we can move forward with actually paying our contract, our consultant, for the work that was done on the application process. I'm also happy to say that we were successful in that process, and we have gotten word that we will receive $3.5 million for the replacement of the bridge on Old Highway 8.
What was the cost for the Wagner engineer?
I think it's about $13,000. That invoice is attached to the paperwork you have before you. And the agreement has been reviewed by our legal counsel. And there's some, of course, our standard language. Mr. Hammond reviewed it, has been added to that as well.
Any other questions? Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? So moved.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. So we're here at the presentation, agenda.
So, y'all want to go back on that, y'all on the table, so, item number 11, I guess.
I don't know what I read you.
Okay. So presentation agenda. Okay, I call it. Yes, ma'am. Notification of legal advertisement for the following. A, public meeting, community input on settlement agreement summary action plan with the Department of Justice.
Let the attorney talk.
Could I comment on that? As you will recall, the city entered into a consent decree with the Department of Justice a couple of years ago, settling the lawsuit, at least settling the city's portion of the lawsuit that had been brought by the Department of Justice against various local governmental entities. And part of that consent decree requires the city to conduct community input meetings. We're nearing a point in time where I think the city will be able to come out from under the consent decree. But this is, again, one of the requirements is to have these periodic community input meetings, and there's one scheduled for February 21st. We would encourage the public to attend to the extent that you've got questions of what the city has been doing to comply with this consent decree.
Thank you. Request number. And I have B, request for proposal, upkeep of 22nd Avenue interchange.
One comment on that, if we're gonna do this, it needs to be better than what we've had in the past.
Dr. Thomas, what this is clarifying this contract for an RFP or what we request. Currently, at 22nd Avenue, the vendor has been going off of the parameters that were set in the contract where it states he is to cut to the drip line. The drip line on the tree is where the branches extend out in the very end, and that is why you have, in some instances, 10 feet of grass growing between the edge of the limbs to the tree. The changes we're asking to put in here is that no bush hog will be used. They'll use mowers and weed eaters, and cutting the entire area, including the drip line of the trees up to the base. Weed eating is expected to be done in all areas where mowers cannot reach. This includes all slopes, ditches, low spots, and wet areas, and a litter will also be picked up. Just to clarify that contract and make sure that we do golf course type entryway into the city.
Who inspects that? Public Works?
Public Works. So,
Ready to vote? No, we vote on that, right? Okay, yeah, all right. Mayor's report.
Good morning again, council. As brief as I can on some of these things, because I got some people out in the audience that's going to give a update on some of our projects that we have going on. First thing is Arbor Day will be February 2019, this year.
February what?
8th,
Okay.
2019. And so I have the proclamation here, and you guys will get another additional information from Ms. Laura Carmichael in regards to where it will be this year, what time, and all that good stuff. February 8th, which will be.
That's coming up this week. Where
This
is
week.
it?
The actual event will not be this week, but we just want to recognize the Arbor Day. It's one of the 4 criteria that we have to do to make sure that we still remain a true USA. So we'll give you the information about the tree stands.
Coach Adams in Parks and Rec has given a form, and some of you may have seen it out front before people pay their water bill. It's for Camp Hoops. Camp Hoops is a new program that we're doing through the City of Meridian Parks and Rec. It's designed to allow athletes with special needs of all ages the opportunity to play basketball and have fun through our Parks and Rec program. Camp Hoops will take place on 3 consecutive Fridays, beginning Friday, February 22nd, and will continue to March 1st and the 8th. Each event will be from 6 to 7. Camp Hoops will take place at Carver Junior High Gym, which is located at 944th Avenue here in Meridian. The cost for Camp Hoops is absolutely free. It's free, and all we ask is that you please register for this event. For more information, call Ms. Tracy Bragg at 601-678-2665 or email Tracy, Tracy Bragg, BRAGG 44@att.net. Like I said, Camp Hoops will conclude on March 8th, which is that Friday. But it's on that day we'll let them have a skills challenge and a game with the players versus the coaches. But it's another thing that we're trying to do to give everyone the opportunity to play sports, especially those with special needs. Also with Parks and Rec, they are partnering with Citizens National Bank. They have a financial management course going on right now at Velma Young. This 8-week course is starting Monday, January 28th, so it just kicked off last week. It's from 5:30 to 6:30 on Mondays. This program will talk about basic banking and budgeting, credit and debt, income planning and risk management, and also to help people with their taxes. Is to push people towards more home ownership, but it's basically at the end of the day, it's giving them the tools needed to increase their credit score and obtain the knowledge that they need to be a homeowner. And of course to help better manage their finances in their budgeting process. So this is another partnership that we have going on right now with Parks and Rec and Citizens National Bank. Also this morning, of course, from 9 to 1 at Tommy Delaney Center is our job fair. So we'll leave here, we're rushing off to that, but we've had a really big turnout the last 2 years. And we just wanted everyone who may be watching today to know that you have until 1 p.m. today to go to the Thomas Delaney Center for that job fair. We've been doing a lot of work, as you guys know, raising money through partnerships, like city, county, business owners, and individuals for Planet Playground. The build out for that playground will be this month from Monday, February 18th. Gets to Saturday the 24th. We're expecting to have over 1,500 to 2,000 possible volunteers to put their hands in and help build out the structure of this building. Our office, along with some other partners of ours, have already been doing a lot of work out there, and we just ask everyone in the community to come out and provide their support. This playground was built in 1999. Of course, it has been the primary site for a lot of people all around town as the playground of choice for families. And the bottom line of it is, this has been a huge endeavor. We have basically had this playground shut down for over a year, and we're glad to bring it back. It's going to be a one-of-a-kind playground for individuals and also families and individuals with special needs. So that's what's going to be very special about it, and we're looking forward to having a big community campaign to build out Planet Playground during that week. I'm going to put them on the spot real quick, because you guys asked some questions about the Village Fair Mall and also what we're trying to do to better enhance that area. And as I told you all at some of these work sessions, we're going to be moving forward on some more aggressive codes and ordinances. That's not going to make everybody happy, because for a long time we've had properties that are set up that have been outsourced in our community for a long time, not just downtown, but in neighborhoods. And so some of these things that we're addressing, some of these codes and ordinances we have on the book, some of them we are going to have to rectify a little bit to update the language in these codes and ordinances. And one of them, of course, deals with some of these commercial properties, one being the Village Fair Mall. Dr. Red and also Laura have been working really hard on some proposals that they're going to be bringing to you all shortly. They have met out there with the owners of Village Fair Mall. Of course, the owner is trying to sell that for between $1.2 and $2 million, depending on who you ask. But from our findings, it is going to cost at least $800,000 to $1 million to demolish that building and deal with the asbestos and everything else that goes along with that. In the middle of all of that, we are trying to work with the owner and other partners that we're trying to get on the same page and get them playing in the same sandbox so that we can have something very creative that will be something this community hopefully can have as a tourism site for many, many years to come. Everything has not aligned perfectly on that yet. We're still in negotiations, and those people are in private negotiations. And those type of talks are very sensitive. That's why we have not brought them to you guys, because we don't know where exactly everything is. People have got to decide upon what they're willing to sell things for. People have to decide on how much of a private investment they're going to make and how much long-term financing is going to take to put those deals together. And a lot of times in situations like that, until they all agree and agree what the city can and cannot do, sometimes we don't engage everyone until they get to that point, because people are real sensitive about those things and they'll walk away from a deal real quick. So that won't happen. We have allowed those people and those persons and those firms to continue to work together until they come to a conclusion of what they need the city and the county to do. But in saying all that, still understand that that building is still being marketed to sale. And the biggest other issue is the demolition and the asbestos in that building. And I will let Laura and Dr. Red update you, because I think it's really important to know where we are at the Village Fair Mall, because we are trying to continue to turn lemons into lemonade around this city. We have a lot of eyesores that we are trying to do all that we can to create a better space for all of us, and to create a creative space that will bring in tax dollars to this city. So you may want to update them really quickly on that.
Good morning again. Very quickly, we have met with the owners of the mall on 3 different occasions. And they have been cited as well, with some code violations in order to get the property, moving toward a goal of, what's going to happen with this property. So we've had these conversations. There is a plan. It is in the works. And we are continuing to be, very diligent about working with them on getting, the mall in that area, in a place that we can bring economic development. We can put something there that will bring more tax dollars into our community. And we've also got some plans as well that will, look at that area and how, it can be, what exactly can go there, and what's going to be really a good fit for our community.
I was looking at two different options. What we could do an overlay of the area. We could do the corridor overlay that would give the city, jurisdiction over what can go there in the future. And what I also saw is an enhancement of Swashi Creek. We could do an overlay of the area where we can do beautification, at least, going down Swashi Creek and enhance different things along that area. We have the multi-trail that's supposed to be coming eventually, so we can, it allows us to have more, put more restrictions on the area, more green space, and enhance going down Swashi Creek that could be more family friendly and park friendly.
I just don't see much difference. We condemn houses that have been abandoned and declare them hazards or potential hazards, health hazards. That building, are we gonna start letting somebody with a condemned house say, well, I'm gonna try to sell it, and therefore you can't condemn it? I don't see any difference with that. Mall property and houses we condemn, tear down, clear, and we need to be very careful we don't set a precedent with malls saying, as long as you're trying to market it, we're not gonna touch it. Well, you have a person out in the residential area that has a house that's falling down, and we say, well, I'm trying to market it. I mean, we need to be very careful on the precedent we set with that piece of property.
Right, and we have cited several code violations, and we have given them timelines as to when we expect, those to be addressed. And so we're moving forward with that process as well, from a code violation standpoint. It's very important that we, get that message clear as well.
Because it's been as vacant as long as most houses, longer than most houses we condemn to tear down. And it is an attractive hazard, I think, to the public.
No doubt.
Yeah, so I just, or not concerned, condemn, tear it down, charge it.
Yes, you are correct, and what I'm telling you is so that we be consistent with everybody, because once they leave the second floor mayor's office, they're gonna be calling you all at y'all's cell phone and showing up at y'all's job to talk about the mayor and his team, or making them have to pay money they ain't had to pay for in years to do X, Y, or Z. So that's why I'm notifying you, because the first stop, Councilman President, is second floor. They don't hear what they want to hear there. The next stop will be to you all business on y'all cell phone. So we're just letting you all know what's going on.
We call them back, tell them it's mayor's fault.
So the next thing is charter properties. And the reason I want to bring this up really, really quick is because, of course, they're communicating to us that they're going to move forward with the project in Ward 4, which is King. So we can be very clear, we talked about a Weatherspoon project before. Myself and no one on my team was saying that we were trying to partner with just charter or with charter in that endeavor, but that we wanted control of that building and that area of the old Weatherspoon School so that we could have options on whatever decision that we made together as a group with one partner or several partners to build out houses in the range of $75,000 to $125,000 in that area. So I still want to, I know we're supposed to be having a work session soon, I still want to go back to the table with you guys on some of our plans on trying to move forward in this community with the build out of properties between $75,000 to $125,000. Some of the local banks have changed some of their financing programs to make it more attractive for people and for us to get the appraisals in certain areas for homes in that area. In that range, and so a lot of people who are going to qualify for those $75,000 to $85,000 homes in areas that are very blighted right now, have been very underserved for years, and we're trying to make more attractive. So I'm talking about two things here. I know everyone doesn't agree with how Charter's business model is and that sort of thing, but in some of these areas where we have in our community, they don't continue to we need to upgrade, bottom line, and that's one option, and other models are another option, but we want to be able to bring some of those ideas to you all so that we can move forward or stay the same one way or the other. at some of these next work sessions. The last thing I would like to have happen is Chris McNeil with McNeil and Rhodes come up and update us on our water meter project that's still going on all around town here. We're on schedule for everything, and I want to give the Director, Hugh Smith of Public Works, he's been doing a great job, and also two of his team members, Kevin Locke and James Boyd, to continue to move this project forward. And I would like for Chris to come up and update the community and answer any questions you guys may have had from some of your constituents in regards to their water bills or this water meter project while he's in town today.
Good morning, everybody. Let's see here, give y'all a little bit of an update. They have done a lot.
No, use it.
Yeah, we need.
Oh, you did? Okay, that's the things that kind of echo out, I guess. Anyway, since the last time came up, been a ton of progress. I guess the last time we came up here, I was telling you, when we first started the project, we were basically focused on a lot of the commercial stuff. So its first part, it kind of, moved along a little bit, slower because it's, 2 inch, 3 inch and, large meters. Since then, basically what we did, and you kind of see this, like, we have a lot of projects going on in, north parts of the state and stuff like that, because when it gets cold, probably not the most optimal time to be working in the north part of the state. So what we did is we seriously ramped up starting, it was about the end of November, that, to basically triple up the amount of people that we had out here installing. So as of today, just in the last 2 months, we've done almost half this project in the last 8 weeks, just the amount of manpower that we put down. We've got about 13,000 meters total to go into. Today, we've got a little over 10,000 that are done. My goal, that leaves us with about 3,000, 2,500 of those are going to be residential, the other 500 are going to be larger. My goal is to be totally done with the residential hopefully about the middle of next month, mid-March. From there, we've got some cleanup to do, some more of the commercial meters that we'll have to finish up with. But the way things are tracking right now, our goal is to try to have this project totally done by July. By our schedule, we had till next, I believe April, I think is when it was on the schedule. So basically, we're going to get done close to about 8 months ahead of schedule. Been pretty good. We get started out and we kind of, us and the city, both kind of get a process down that work for us. But as far as issues and stuff go now, it's a pretty clean, streamlined. We've got an email system, that's set up now with both us and the city on us every time, a resident calls or whatever, we're all notified. It's pretty good. I haven't, unless I find out something today different, I haven't heard of any major issues or, so it's been going pretty good. Unless y'all urge down me today.
So when the system will be totally operational in Public Works, we have the whole thing set up?
Like I said, my goal is to have all that done, hopefully by July. Be done with the final training, be able to hand this thing off to y'all ready to go, which will be, like I said, about 8 or 9 months ahead of what we had our contract to do.
So at July, they can read the meters from Public Works?
Well, and right now, they actually can do a lot of that now. Like as we put these meters in, kind of the process of the way it works is we'll go out there and, say we'll go to your house, Mr. Thomas, and we'll go out and put the meter in. From there, the network operations center that basically all that information goes to. It's about a 3 or 4 day process to basically get it all pretty much in the computer system linked to your house and all that. And once that process is done, you can read the meters now. Like pretty much all the ones we put in right now are all active inside the system. Now, are we taking it 100% live and, are all the, if you want to say all the stuff, kinks worked out of it? No, but where we are today, I'm pleased. I see no reason why this ain't going to end very, very well. So, one of the things that I guess one of the questions that did get called up was people were asking about processes, like if there is an issue. And I can tell you, in a bigger project, when you're in 13,000 people's yards, there's going to be stuff that'll come up. The process, if you have a resident calls and it's for whatever reason, it's either they come out and there's a leak, or if there's maybe they're unhappy with something that was done. Just like in any situation, they need to call the city. There's a phone number that water utility billing have, but then also what we'll do is we go by, first thing we do, we knock on everybody's door. If we want to, first of all, somebody's there, notify them, tell them what we're doing and stuff like that. If the resident is not there, we have some door hangers that we've been leaving, on the doors, and it has that number on there to where, if they don't have a chance to talk to us personally and you get our number and for us to relay that face to face, they have a door hanger that they can go in and call. And as it is now, if somebody calls that number, 99% of the issues typically get resolved that day, because when they send it in, the building sends out an email, it's got me, it's got Mr. Smith, it's got all the project managers of the city, the billing office, our project managers, and pretty much we'll get on the phone and, if maybe somebody on the water side, we'll call down there and say, look, have you been to this address, what's the issue? And they'll say, well, it's your issue, we found this, okay, we'll be out there to correct it. Or they'll say, no, this is a city issue, it has nothing to do with this project, okay, well, just let us know if we can help you. And it's been good, so I've really enjoyed working with this thing. It's been a very good project.
So August, everything will be operational perfect.
I said my goal.
He said his goal was August. But the contract says what?
The contract says we have until next April, but my goal is to have this done and over with. Hopefully by July, but August would be, I think it's pretty good goal. Pretty much it, what I got. That's fine, he got it all, that's fine. Good, but you know the whole person, they don't get back, it's gonna be all people in the world, it's gonna be.
Boy, that shirt up here to try to get some sympathy.
No, I won't.
Thank you, you too.
One last question we've had, I don't put you on the spot too, we've had issues, questions about potholes and paving of streets in the community. I'm gonna let Mr. Smith, one main thing is, we put a number out there, and I'll let you say that number again for potholes instead of talking about, I go to other communities, and their streets is not just a pothole, but their streets got lumps and bumps in them that you almost get crooks in your neck when you end up leaving from out of their cities. But we do, especially after these rainstorms, have a lot of issues with potholes reoccurring and that sort of thing. There is a number, there is a process that his team goes through on the potholes. But we want to just talk to you guys really quickly on the streets you want paved. And the money that's in the budget for that, or the money that we'll have to find some CDs or wherever, and it'll be you all's choice on how much we use. Yes, we do have the equipment, but it takes money to pay for the asphalt and that sort of thing. So I just wanted you to explain to you also, as we move forward between February 1 and September 30th, if there's any street paving that we do in the spring or summer, that we can align ourselves together to address some of the concerns in your wards. But at the same time, know that we can't pave every one street that has major street issues in the city within the next 2 or 3 years. We got that equipment for a long-term process to deal with streets in our community. Hopefully, Dr. Thomas, we can put one day a 1% tax on it like Jackson does, so we can address our streets each and every year. But right now, we've got to use those funds, of course, in the budget to do it, and we're restricted a lot of times on how much is there. But a lot of people ask you guys about the paving issue. They're asking us, they're beating our doors down, they're asking Mr. Smith, so I wanted him to communicate to you all, but also to communicate to the public, the process, the funding, and the limitations that we have as we go through our paving processes for this entire city.
I guess we'll start talking about potholes because that seems to be the topic of today.
What's the phone number?
Phone number 601-485-1990. That's a direct line to the maintenance division in Public Works that will issue that work order for that pothole to be repaired. As you can imagine, we get a lot of calls, I have a lot of calls. And each day that cycle, starts new. Basically what I mean by that is every morning that we're out patching. And there are some mornings that we're not doing that. Let me go ahead and say that. And it's not because we don't want to, it's not because of personnel issues. Sometimes we can't get the product, that being the asphalt. That is a commodity that we have to buy. And currently, as of this week has been a good example, APAC is down for repair. So they're actually not generating any asphalt. We would love to be out patching, but today we can't do that. But in those days when we can, we issue work order starting that morning, send it out with our patch truck. We actually have a unit that's designed to do potholes. Set it out with them, and they'll work on that list of, the list of potholes. We try to send them in areas where those potholes are grouped together, where they're not running back and forth all around town all day long. Because the more time you spend in an area where it's more dedicated, the more efficient you are in getting those potholes done. You don't want to spend a lot of windshield time with that operation. You'd rather spend time actually out patching those potholes. So that's why you may see it on one side of town for 2 or 3 days, and you don't see it over here. The idea is you keep them, in close proximity, and they spend more time actually patching potholes than they do running around town chasing potholes. The other thing is those potholes that are in main thoroughfares, main streets, use an example, State Boulevard, places like that, we do try to get those first because of the amount of traffic that travels on those. One of the things we have to be mindful of as a city is our liability. Where the more vehicles are exposed to that issue, the higher our liability. So we do try to address those first. So that goes back to the idea of not being in a neighborhood street sometime and sitting us out on the main thoroughfares. It's a process, as the mayor alluded to. That process is governed by some things we cannot control, being the availability of the product, and also, us being good stewards of, that operation, those resources, and trying to do what's best for the city as a whole. The other thing is we're also crack sealing, and that is a preventative measure to even prevent that pothole from occurring. This is one of the best times of years to do that because you're really not in a position where you can pay. And crack sealing is effective in regards to eliminating or preventing potholes in the future. So that's kind of the operation we have in pothole patching. One, we're proactive in that effort by doing crack sealing, which prevents that pothole from occurring. And also, when we do, when we're out there patching those potholes, we have an approach to that in which we're trying to be, I guess, the best stewards we can be of that resource. Any questions in regards to what I just explained? And one other thing I want to say, pothole patching that is not a permanent repair. There are ways to make it more durable, which we moved to that. We bought the unit, and it's self-contained. It has all the apparatuses and equipment to make that patch last as long as possible. But patches are just that. The most durable roads are going to be those roads that are, more cohesive. They don't have the cracks and whatnot, and that's also why crack sealing is so beneficial. But if there's no question on potholes, I do want to just throw this out there in regards to the paving schedule. One of the things I would recommend is, first of all, come up with a budget, whatever that number may be, and then we can work backwards in regards to what we can accomplish with, those dollars that you earmark for that, so we're all on the same page. I don't want to have you thinking that we can go out and do a lot more than we can in those funds on the label before that. So I think to be realistic, let's first of all start with a dollar amount, and then we'll back that into the tonnage that we can get for that and the amount of roads that we can cover for that amount of money.
We're still working with the county.
We are. In fact, I met with the road manager, Mr. Rush Mayat, and Supervisor Norwood yesterday, and looked at some of the roads that they want to partner with us on. And where it's feasible, we'll do that. But we are working with the county. We've actually done some roads up 65th one of those roads.
When will it be striped? Because it's really hard to see at night.
Let me get on that. I wish I had an answer for you right off the top of my head, but I don't. But we'll get it done as soon as possible.
One of the other things that came up at our community meeting was about street sweeping. In all neighborhoods, to try to politically say that, correct?
I understand.
Or did Mr. Lloyd come back and report to you about us creating a schedule to make sure that certain communities are addressed on a consistent basis?
I have not spoken with him about that. But let me say that as we get into what I call the height of the work season, I know that's one of those priorities. It's roads. So we'll definitely be prepared to come back with a more cohesive schedule. But as we've discussed in the past, there's limitations with the amount of equipment that we have. I mean, that's being realistic.
Right, and I explained that at the meeting that we really didn't have a lot of street sweepers for every ward.
Right.
But at the same time, there are people there that said they have never seen the street sweeper, and that is unacceptable.
Understood.
And also, we talked about signage. Because if we ever do come up with an actual schedule, putting signs up that say, you know, no parking on this street Tuesdays from 3 to 6. You know, so the street can be swept and swept correctly, where you don't have to be going around, bobbing around cars.
Correct.
And things of that nature. Just trying to be proactive.
When you really
in ways so that we can get through the neighborhood and get through there quick, because there's no cars on the street and we can move on to the next area.
Correct.
And the street actually gets swept, because I know it's hard to sweep a street if there's cars in the way. So I guess the outcome from the meeting was trying to really take an active interest in sweeping the streets, all streets of Meridian, if at all possible.
I couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more.
And speaking of signage, and this is a little off topic, there's a sign by the high school that cuts off the road, making it one way from like 7 till 4.
Mm-hmm. Is that in front of the, I guess, Ross Collins area?
Yes.
Okay.
Could you tell me why? I just never understood.
Actually, the school system controls that. A lot of that is done by their request. I would have to, get into a more detailed conversation with him, but if it's on school property, typically whatever we've done has been done at their request.
And just Councilman Johnson, then speaking to our CFO, the reason behind that sign was there was an accident, while.
There's an accident in the area when I was in high school and at that point they changed it.
Long before
At that point they put the sign.
Yeah, a guy was parking his car and got hit there.
Okay. I know a few of the residents that stay there, they've been complaining like they get tickets because of that. And they have to go way around the corner just to go one house over. That's why I brought it up. I didn't know why it was that way, so I got
Residents don't get a pass on it, I guess.
Between those hours, no. And typically when you see those kind of situations, it's, we were approached as a city by those officials and asked to come up with a solution so that wouldn't happen again, and that's our solution. And that has stood for years.
The people that live on that street are the ones who question around there.
And it may not be the same people there, but that was the solution to that situation. And it has stood since then.
Thank you.
While you're up here, garbage contracts coming up soon. Are we starting to look at possibilities of other companies or bidding it or extending it, or that's this year?
It is.
I don't want to wait till 2 months and get the equipment.
I reserve, to have that conversation in more detail.
Okay.
Because there is an option to just renew what we know.
It's an option.
And what we do, we have these discussions when, again, I still have this debris from April of last year, tornado, and it had not been picked up, not one piece of it.
I've had a conversation with my staff about those areas, and I think either they have gotten with you or intended to get with you. Some of that was done by contractors. So there again, some of it wouldn't fall into our responsibility to be removed. I don't know if you actually had that conversation with my staff members. Yes, it did. Okay, all right. And that's what we run into. And it's done that way for a reason. But if we'll look,
What would you suggest we do about it? If we can't take care of it as a city, should they set it on fire?
it's just like, to me, it's just like any other issue with a property owner that has work done. What done on that property, they're to comply with the city ordinances. And basically, you have a situation where that property owner is not complying with our ordinances. So, what do you suggest?
Yeah.
So, is there a way, just kind of thinking outside of the box and another stream of revenue, is there a way that we can, if they're expecting us to pick it up, that we could maybe have them sign something and agree that we'll pick it up for X amount of dollars?
If you back it back through our ordinances, community development would work through that situation and ultimately at request for public works to have it removed after they've documented the property owner and gone through the process of making sure the city will receive their money for doing such work. And we've done some of those in the past. I know this looks a little different, but it's no different than us going in and cleaning up somebody else's property. But we brought that before the council before we took that action. It's that simple. There again, you have a homeowner who's not complying with ordinances, so we can handle it like we've done on any of those in the past.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. All right. Moving to council comments. I mean, citizen, I'm sorry. Been a long day. Is Ms. Melinda?
You bet. Can we ever get a table for us to put our supplies when we come like they have?
Put a chair up there.
You treat us like a stepchild. I'm just saying, like, we don't have.
Is the clock on yet? Please don't start it yet until I get my book, please. Okay? I think that's so rude. I came today because I want to talk about corruption again. We have radiator fluid flowing down our back from Rush Hospital. I have a video and a photograph of a 55-gallon red metal drum that was purchased, guess by who? The taxpayers. I have the truck that delivered it from another state. It came from the mafia. This is not a joke. We are the last two homes, I keep trying to tell you, where we live. And the University of Mississippi wants to build a helicopter pad. And the only way they can do it is to get us out. Our homes have been there since 1945. We are not leaving. That's like you telling me to give up my First Amendment right, or my Second Amendment right, or any amendment right. We are a for-profit family for the highest buyer. We're the last two. You're supposed to be glad when you're the last two. So the University of Mississippi wants us taxpayers to build another helicopter pad where our houses are. That's the newest way to rip off poor people. Insurance only pays $250 for an airlift. You understand? When you're putting your patient, your loved one, in a helicopter, all you care about is they get well, right? You're not asking how much it costs. It costs a minimum $8,000 to $10,000, and insurance only covers. So I've been following the money. You see what these are? These are shell corporations. I found 35 of them. 2 of them you'll be interested in. MHA. What do you think that stands for? Meridian Housing Authority. You need to find out where the rent, the $25 million for the Meridian Police Department is going. You've got to find that bank account. You need to do a better job because you don't know who y'all are paying your money to. I'm able to sell our house for $1.5 million. I do not accept Rick Perry and Chuck Reese's bid for $52,000. And the last thing is, they're selling properties, I keep telling y'all, 2 to 12 times in one day. It takes a lot of people. Property tax records are fraud. What it does is it escalates the property of their for-profit real estate portfolio at the Rush Not-for-Profit Corporation. I know this is way over y'all's head, but it's really not hard. All property is to be visited in person every 3 years. And you need to learn how to read these things here. Who visited it? What the condition was it in? It says occupied. There's nothing there. I used to be HUD compliance banking fraud in Miami. I think God sent me here to do this. Even though y'all think I'm a pain or want to use any adjective you want to, it has to be done. It has to be done. And you guys need to do a better job of knowing who you're paying money to. And the police department is being managed by a mafia group called the BMW Group.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Blunt.
And I would appreciate if y'all would ask me questions or ride by my house. They are shooting so many electronics at us that the tree caught on fire on Sunday. And maybe the federal laws, jamming is illegal. Did y'all get a copy of that? And I know before he arrests me, the multi-county is not handicap accessible. And I took a lady there with a broken hip. She has a bachelor's degree and she has a broken hip, and they threw her in the street because they don't
Honorable Mayor Bland, City Council, and the citizens of Meridian. I stand before you this morning as the pastor of St. Paul United Methodist Church to extend an invitation to share in the unveiling of the historical marker for the Carnegie Branch Library for Blacks. Also, to invoke your imagination to envision places of empowerment and refuge for the youth of the city of Meridian. In 1912, at the request of a group of Black Methodists, amid overt resistance, the library, the Carnegie Library for Blacks, was built on the corner of 13th Street and 28th Avenue, specifically for the African American citizens of Meridian. And that building was built by an $8,000 grant by Andrew Carnegie. This was done because they were not allowed to share in the white facility, and the library operated from 1913 until 1974. The marker will read as follows. The 13th Street Colored Library, also known as the Carnegie Library for Blacks, operated in 1913 on the site donated by St. Paul United Methodist Church. The library was one of 12 segregated libraries funded by Andrew Carnegie, a one-story red brick building. The library was the first and only library for African Americans in the state until World War I, and served the African American community for more than 60 years. Closed in 1974, and the building was demolished in 2008. When the building was demolished, it deeply affected the Meridian community, and so we are seeking to put a marker so that we can remember the significance of this building. So I invite you on today to the unveiling of the marker on Saturday, February 16, 2019 at 11 a.m. This will take place on the corner of 13th Street and 28th Avenue. Before the internet, well, now to invoke your imagination quickly, before the internet, I argued this morning that the Carnegie Library for Blacks was an information superhighway in Meridian for African Americans. There are countless residents who now say that the library stood as a refuge and even a sanctuary for them. And it also served as a radical message to the country about a city that is deliberate about working through issues of race and education in early 20th century Mississippi. Just as a group of Methodists called for the city to create space of empowerment and opportunity in 1913, I, the pastor of St. Paul, and his members once again call upon the city to be intentional about radically creating additional spaces for Meridian residents, particularly our youth and young adults, that will develop the next generation of Meridianites who will be judges, educators, doctors, representatives, architects, and even ministers. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I have an invitation for our council, if I may hear a word.
And Pastor Bowler, while you are standing, we may have to reschedule the February 21st community meeting, as we got word today that there's another meeting happening on February 21st. Did you say that earlier, Mr. Attorney? That public meeting for the consent decree, is that on the 21st?
It is.
So we may have to reschedule our community meeting scheduled for St. Paul.
Sure.
For Ward 4. But I'll get back to you. Thank you.
All right. Now we're down to council comment.
Council members, you may have had a chance to review the 25-page document I sent you one day last week addressed to the city attorneys and to the public. You may have had a chance to see the guest column I wrote in the Meridian Star that was in this past weekend, addressing some of these issues that have been going on for a little while now as it relates to the city attorney's role in representing the city council. And unfortunately, it's become clear to me, I didn't have to go seeking out a way to build a case against anyone. To me, it seems they've built a case against themselves. But it's become clear that the city attorneys, at least the three that regularly interact with the council, have been, one, obstructing my efforts at investigating things. Two, they have been not assisting in drafting ordinances and following the specific statutes that the Mississippi Code clearly outlines as their responsibility in working for the members of the council as well as the administration. And then, of course, from emails that I've seen, obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, it's become clear that they're dealing with complaints that I've been making about malfeasance and other issues. Those complaints that I make in public, they deal with in secret, using their attorney-client privilege. And so I outlined a lot of these issues in the article this weekend and in the 25-page document sent last week, to which I got essentially no real response to that document. And it doesn't appear that these issues are going to be resolved without further action. So I'm going to say today for sure that my intent moving forward is to take legal action of some sort against primarily the 3 city attorneys who regularly interact with council in this way, because I think there's a substantial amount of, 1, evidence, and 2, clear state statutes and Attorney General's opinions that outline my right to the information requested, as well as the duties and responsibilities of the city attorneys working for members of the council. So with that, I don't know how that'll affect things moving forward with the way that the city attorneys represent the council, but it is my intent to take some sort of legal action moving forward.
Good morning. We appreciate everybody coming out, and make sure you're volunteering at the schools. Our babies, they need us. They need to see us. They need to hear our voices and champion them to read. We had a community meeting scheduled for February 21st. It may still go on, I don't know, we'll see. But if everybody can't be there, if we're gonna be over there, we're probably gonna have to reschedule that. But again, we thank everybody for coming, and that's it.
Thanks again, everybody, for coming. Everybody be mindful of the flu. It is rampant in Meridian. Wash your hands, wash your kids' hands, try to keep everything sanitized. I have some workers and some clients that are out sick with it, so be as careful as you can to try to be safe and to try to keep it from spreading, because it can get dangerous. And again, thanks for coming out.
I think the paper reported we had about 160 children out at Parkdale School with the flu, so it is bad. Thanks to WPOK for doing the On the Record program. They had the mayor and members of the city council there to give some information to the public. I think that was helpful. Again, remind you about the community project, the Planet Playground project. It's a community project. Have people in the city that can give you information. The members of the junior auxiliary are putting together the list of volunteers. If you have any time that week, if nothing else, just come out and help a little bit. You don't have to lift, you don't have to do anything heavy. If you can, that's great. They'll need people to hand out materials. They'll need people to register people. It's a good opportunity if you want to get involved in a community activity. It involves total Lauderdale County, the city, the town, everyone involved. I encourage you to get involved if you can. It's the week of February 18th.
February 18th through the 24th. And I've got a fact sheet for volunteers on the
18th to 24th. There's also an opportunity. Community Foundation is one that's handling the financing this. There are opportunities to make donations. Right too, there are opportunities to bring attention to a child or a person you'd like to recognize also with their name on some of that. So again, it's a great opportunity to get involved with a community-wide activity, and she has some information, or if you'll contact the Community Foundation, they'll be glad to give you some information.
Good evening, well, good morning. Get my nice names, Mr. Number one, I want to thank Ms. Fanny. She gave me a call maybe a week or so ago, and a lot of food was delivered to her establishment. So I loaded up the back of my truck and I delivered it to families that may have needed a lot of food. So it was an all-day work in progress in my truck, but appreciate that, and I know the community really appreciate that as well. I promise you, I probably lifted over 500 families. So yeah, it was a long day, but it was well worth it. It was well worth it. I was asked to mention that West Hill School is they want you guys to donate some books from grades K through 6. If you want to donate some books, please send it down to the second floor. I think Mr. Jim on the second floor, you can turn your books into him. February 23rd, that's a Saturday. Hopefully it doesn't rain. It seems like every time I plan an event, it rains. I don't know. So, but February the 23rd, we plan to get out there and have a community cleanup. We're gonna meet at at the Belleville Community Center at 9 a.m. Please, if you guys wanna donate trash bags and maybe bottles of water, it would be greatly appreciated. I wanna thank the council. You guys, we have been working really hard to try to bring new changes to this city, and also, you know, we have been very adamant about holding people accountable for what we need to do, the information that we need to get so we can make good decisions for the city. Thanks to Mayor and his administration for actually working with us to try to bring change to this community. I know it may seem as we fight every day, but the bottom line is we're trying to do what's right for the city and its taxpayer and make decisions that once we're not here, that the city can actually thrive. But most importantly, and we sometimes don't pay attention to, is I want to thank Ms. Joanne. She is the backbone of what this city is. And sometimes things go unnoticed. Yes. I get on her nerves. I call her a lot. I call her a lot. But without Ms. Joanne, a lot of things won't get done with the city. So I really appreciate what she does as well. But besides that, again, I'm about to head over to the Tom Delaney Center, and I'm gonna go apply for me another job. So hopefully I see you guys over there. So thank you all for what you do. You deserve it.